So for the gutter maintenance business package, Justin, I know this one is a passion of yours.
Oh yeah, it definitely is. I mean, I have a home that's built on a slope, and so the back end of the house is, nearly inaccessible at the gutter height, and it's, something that concerns me constantly because, of course, when gutters are full, water's not draining, property damage occurs, property devalues. It's something that on the consumer demand side is sky's the limit. Everybody needs this service.
Yeah, I mean, I live in a dry climate, so for me, it's not. But I mean, I've lived where you live before, in the wet Pacific Northwest, and yeah, I mean the pine needles, and it's like that, virtually almost the whole country's got gutters. The northern half of this country, this is just a constant problem. And I have had houses where the water damage has occurred, just like you said. The gutter gets backed up, nobody notices, it starts to cause some damage. You're going to work every day as a homeowner. You're not, walking around staring at your gutters all the time. And then I know for me, I have not been able to find gutter folks. And so I've climbed up on the roof, and I'm a little accident prone. So my wife's down there going, please don't die. And she's scared to death. I can't watch. I'm going to go inside. You're going to fall off. You're going to kill yourself. I mean, just it's a giant pain to do. But on the other side, for somebody that's cleaning out gutters, really, you get a system and a process down, you can go knock these things out really, really quickly for some nice margins.
Oh, definitely you can. And I think one kind of cap on a lot of gutter contractors and gutter business owners is it's hard to produce stability. It's hard to reconnect with previous customers. And so I think having this subscription model, because, it's easy to forget about the gutters. And if you do, property damage occurs. So having this subscription service where you can hire this out, put it on the schedule, it's a win for the homeowner because they don't have to worry about it. It's another thing that's off their plate. That's what we want. And on the business owner side, you've got financial stability, you've got long-term relationships. Yeah, I know right now a major challenge is if you're in this business, you got to really compete on the advertising. You got to make sure that you're getting all of that new clientele. But with this, as you grow, as you build that subscriber base, you don't have to be as aggressive. You can build that book of business, and then you kind of ride it.
Yeah, well, and the nice thing is too is the Ready to Launch Startup Series goes over how to advertise, and just taking the least expensive keywords. It has a section in there going how do I find the least expensive keywords that apply to my business. There's a whole section dedicated to that, the targeted advertising section in the Startup Series. And I mean, it goes through everything on how to build your business, but really that one is just giant, because if you don't do that right, you're not going to have a company in 6 months or a year. And so, getting that right with the Startup Series, having the website built by Ready to Launch developers, having the subscription set up to where your customers can just go on your website, click on the button, put in their credit card information, and now all of a sudden, maybe you need bi-monthly service. Maybe you only need quarterly service. Maybe it's biannual. You can have all those packages on there and different housing sizes. It's easy to have the coders put all this information in. And it's a set it and forget it. You're not billing anybody. You're not collecting any payments. Your customers can pay you before they even talk to you and book your service on your website. And it makes it easy for everybody, especially the entrepreneur that's looking to start a business, so they can dedicate their time to what they need to do to make the business run, and not all this other auxiliary stuff that just is endless rabbit holes.
Oh, absolutely. And I think the website, that foundation to connect with the community and build that brand, that's huge too, because I know one major challenge that a lot of people have in these industries in general is they just don't have a recognizable brand. They don't have familiarity. And so every single time the service is needed, everybody's back to square one in the competition. And so having this base, those advertising tools, that website, I think that's going to be key for someone to be successful in this segment of business.
Now, you've worked under our business methodology. Tell me how our way of doing things has impacted your life.
Well, it's improved my life in many different ways. I've learned to, operate in business more efficiently, more strategically, with a greater focus on win-win outcomes, where the business is profiting, but the, clients and customers are happy. So it's been a very enriching process, and I've learned a lot from you guys. You guys have that entrepreneurial spirit that just makes for good business, and so it's been just an absolute pleasure working with you guys.
And now, what about financially? How would you say your situation is different?
Well, it's been enormously personally rewarding, financially rewarding. We've been able to do things we never imagined being able to do just a few years before. Your unique approach to business has enabled us to, be more profitable than our competitors. We've had a better work-life balance, I think, than most people who, even get close to approaching our income threshold. So I think really, as rewarding as something could be, it has been for us.
Now, do you feel like our way of doing things has profitability advantages over traditional ways of doing business?
Oh, most certainly. Yeah. I think you can, tell just by our history of growth. I think, are willing to adapt our business strategies, fill any niche role that's out there, and just, capitalize on things that other businesses aren't even aware of. So, yeah, I think we, have had a much greater level of success than our competitors with more profitability and oftentimes less busy work.
Yeah, certainly. And I think too, with the startup series goes over all sorts of that kind of stuff. And just the ways that we've been luckily forced to adapt and learn how to do things with less staff and, more technology based or more efficiency based, just really picking things apart down to the typing of emails or not. Stuff like that makes a huge difference, I think.
Absolutely. Yeah. Breaking things down to their kind of constituent components, seeing what you absolutely have to have, what's not necessary, and then putting your energy behind what drives, maximum productivity and profitability. And I think that's been where we've had a lot of our success.
Now, Justin, what would you say to someone who is thinking about buying one of these business packages, but is maybe nervous about starting a business from scratch instead of going with a more expensive traditional franchise, or maybe nervous about something else with starting a business?
Well, I would say that, now is a very good time, I think, for someone to look at starting their own business. And I think, when you're weighing these options, say in comparison to a more expensive franchise, I think the flexibility that's afforded because you still own and have control of your own business, I think
Absolutely.
that's huge. I think that's why a lot of people start a business. They don't
Yep.
want to have to report to someone and curtail their goal and operations based on the direction of somebody else. So I
Yeah.
think you get all of those benefits. But I think the other thing that's, a major advantage is that it is lower cost. You're not paying a percentage of your income for an indefinite period. You just have the ability to take a proven model, to adapt it to your specific situation, to be given all the tools to implement your strategy and your goals and to achieve it. And I think that's huge.
Yeah, and I would agree with that. I mean, as an entrepreneur myself, obviously, that started several businesses, when I look back over what worked really well and what did not work really well, it's the unknowns that are waiting out there to just, grab you by the foot and trip you up. And that's really what I think makes businesses fail. I think there's probably two major things that make businesses fail. Number one is not knowing a system and process that's proven for success, which it takes a while to get there. And then number two is just these pitfalls that every single entrepreneur will face at some point in time or another. And having the startup series as a guide to continually reference back to me, makes all the difference in the world compared to somebody that does not have that resource. And business consultants are really, really, really expensive. It's a good way to, especially when you're in the startup phases, that's a good way to really drain profitability, is having to call somebody and pay them by the hour every time you have a question, rather than just referencing a resource that you've got on your computer.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, you're getting basically a veteran business model that works.
Yeah.
And you're able to use that from the get-go. So, it's like, taking the Microsoft model when you're starting a software company. It's as good a start as you could have.
Well, Justin, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you joining me here and going over these business packages. And, for you guys there thinking about this, you can submit on our website or you can give us a call at 844-500-6620 and speak with a business launching consultant. Again, that's 844-500-6620. Thanks so much.